Go ahead and talk in there.
Hello.
There's a headphone button. Can you turn the headphones up just a little bit? Check, 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 check. More. Check, check, check. Right there. Nope. That's not headphones. Check, 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 check. That's headphones. You can turn that other one back down. Right. Nope. Up a little. Check. Check, check. Outside a little bit. Check, 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 check. Check. All right. Well, we're going to go with what we got.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Kalispell. We are back at the Quill Media booth in Kalispell, Montana at the Northwest Fair and Rodeo. It has been a busy day. We've had a lot of people stop by and want to tell their story. And remind me your first name. Megan.
My name's Megan.
Megan stopped by. She's been coming by, and she has a story she wants to tell. She has some information that she wants to get out there. So I want you to introduce yourself first. Tell us who you are, and then we'll get into this third-party takeover stuff.
Okay. My name is Megan. I'm a local here in Kalispell, Montana, and recently I discovered something that I'm very well aware that not many people are aware of, and most people are not aware until they are thrown into the fire themselves and actively going through it. So it's important to me that I am letting other people know of what to look out for. I would like to put the disclaimer out that I'm not an attorney. I cannot give legal advice, but what I can do is I can show you where to go to find how to ask particular questions and look into certain laws that could be out there that you weren't aware of that could potentially usurp your parental rights, which you think that you have this right as a parent, but there's this trap door that we're seeing that most people are completely unaware of. So
explain the trap door to me, or to everybody. So explain how that trap door works.
So a scenario would be what we see this in usually is there's a parental interest statute in Montana, which that would be, I can pull up the exact one here for you. That would be it would be under MCA 40, statute 40. I believe it's
40-4-228.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that what I'm reading here, it says leaving a child, and we're just looking over this here. I'm like, again, I'm not an attorney, so do your own research, speak to your own legal representative on this for the full understanding. But this information people don't even know where to begin to look into. You don't even know it exists. And it says leaving a child continuously in another person's care for a significant period. They would stand in loco parentis, and that counts as contrary conduct to a parental-child relationship. And so if you, like, example would be you have a family member and you leave your child with that person for an extended period of time, like you've got to go work, you've got a surgery or whatever, and then you go to try to get your child back, and then all of a sudden that person is trying to claim rights over your child, and you are in the middle of a legal battle of rights, and you can actually from my understanding, enter a parenting plan with a non-parent. And so that's very concerning because it's kind of like a trap door, like you reach out for help, but then what are you actually signing up for? Or another example would be a lot of people are going back to school right now, and they have these things called educational authorizations, where typically the schools will see somebody with a child that's not theirs, and the child has to go to school, so they have these things called educational authorization forms, And on that form, it says that you are not, to the best of my understanding, it says that you are not, that this is not a waiver of rights to the parent. But when you look at things like the parental interest, what essentially is that doing when you leave a child with somebody else for an extended period of time? Technically, now somebody can try to claim a right over your child. And that costs a lot of money to have to try to be involved in an argument like that. The other thing that we see, and it's not limited to these two things, but these are the most common that we would see, and you can look up like case laws about this and the statutes. This one would be Statute 72, MCA, Title 72. I believe I'm saying that correctly. That's kind of where you would get to look it up. And that one is for a guardianship proceeding for a minor child. And so potentially what can happen is somebody can go into a courtroom saying, I would like to have rights over this child, and they can write whatever they want on that piece of paper, and a judge can sign off on that, and that parent will be in the middle of a legal battle trying to get their children back. And in this guardianship, they now have rights over the child, and there's laws in place, to my best of my understanding, that say that you have the right to your child. Like if you look at certain things like Troxel versus Granville, 530 U.S. 57, that was in 2000. This is the best of my understanding, so do your own research to make sure that I'm quoting this properly, but that is an accurate case, Troxel versus Granville. And it says you have the fundamental liberty, interest, in the care, custody, and control of your child. And there's other things that show that you do, like MCA 40-6-701. That one says governmental interference with fundamental parental rights. There has to be a compelling governmental interest, but so we've got conflicting laws in place to where yes, you have a right, but also you could be potentially putting yourself at risk to lose those rights. There are people out there that are working towards changing this to ensure that we do not have trapdoors and that we are protecting parental rights.
So tell me about this group that you've joined or that you brought to us.
Yeah, so there is a new group. It's called Did You Know About Third Party Takeover? And what they're saying is know your rights, know the risk. And they are working towards showing people what type of questions you would want to ask, like what risk am I really taking by allowing my children to go with a third party, or what has happened to other people, or also trying to find the people that are working towards changing this. So the goal is to find parents that are unaware, find parents who have been affected, and find people who can work towards changing this as far as legislation goes.
Give me an example. Let's try and make an example so that it's easy to understand. If I'm a parent and I'm a working parent and I drop my kid off at daycare or at the nanny's house every day from when I go to work to when I pick them up, do they then have, because they almost have more time with my child during the week than I do,
yeah,
then they can go to court and say, hey, I want parental rights of your child because they spend more time with me than they do with you?
I'm not, and so this is a question that I've had, and that's part of it, is learning how to ask questions and then also trying to find where to go to get the answer. So with the daycare aspect, that one kind of confuses me, because you would think that at that point they could try to claim a parental interest on that child, but I don't know if I've seen it happen in like a daycare scenario.
Right, I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah, no, that's a
let's
great
say
question.
Maybe I drop them off with my sister.
That I think would probably fall, from my understanding, like I think that is where you would possibly run into something like one of the things that they have on there, you see there's like a comic type post where it says, I can help you with your child. Oh, great, I would love help with my child. And then the parent says, I don't like what you're doing with my child. I want my child back. And then the other person has this look on their face like they don't like that. And then all of a sudden, that non-parent is holding up a piece of paper saying, we have interest now and we're taking you to court.
So let's say I go back to school. My parents have decided that they're going to help me out. They're going to take care of my small children while I'm going back to school. And my parents don't like my political views. So we get into an argument about what they're teaching my children while they're staying with my parents during the day. And I have to deal with that at night. But then when I say, you know what, this is going too far, I'm going to find somebody else to take care of the kids. They can then say, they can go to the court and say, no, I have some parental rights, or I have some rights to your kids because they're spending so much time with me.
That is where we start to wonder how much does no actually, what type of, like, how much does no actually mean? Like when you say no, but somebody can go into court and try to claim rights over your child and then have the ability to supersede your no. That's what's scary. That's what's terrifying.
At what point does the investigation start? So at what point, so let's say my parents filed paper and now I'm in a legal battle. At what point is there some sort of investigation, or at what point does either law enforcement or guardian ad litems or anybody get involved in the best interest of the child?
I'm still diving into a lot of that. What could potentially happen is things that shouldn't be happening. And if there isn't somebody to have the correct oversight into the case, it's pretty much whatever the judge says goes at that point. And CPS doesn't. So with CPS, they would have to be able to meet a threshold, and they don't, from my understanding, they do not generally intervene with civil cases. And so with CPS, if CPS takes a child there, and when you look by comparison into these different statutes and stuff, we've got some conflict there when you're looking at it, like comparison wise, because CPS, you have a plan to have contact, like the goal is to get the child back with the parent. That is the goal. But we don't have those, we're not seeing those goals in the other stuff. It's more like take the rights away from the parent. And in CPS, the parents would be appointed counsel. They would get a public defender. We don't see that in the guardianship or the parental interest. These parents are left to defend themselves and spending thousands of dollars to keep their claim as the parent.
So how large is this group right now, or how many cases, if you had to guess, or if you know, how many people are affected by this in Montana right now?
The numbers keep growing. I mean, if you look at these cases right here, these are all Montana cases on here. Let me flip to the right page. Yep, so these are all Montana. So we've got...
You don't have to go, just give me a number. You don't have to go through the names.
It's more common than you would think it'd be, but not so common that everybody is aware of it. I personally know at least probably 5 to 7 people who are affected by something with guardianships or parental interest.
Okay, so let's talk about this group a little more. Is there somebody, or when you go and you find this group, and we'll post the information on our website, but will they point you in the right direction to find legal help or resources?
They can't really point you in the right direction to find legal help, but what they can do is give you the questions to ask, questions that you wouldn't have even thought to ask. So if you are in a situation where you've got third parties around your child, I think that it's very important to understand the risks so that you yourself can make informed and educated decisions, and also have the power to, like, if you didn't know that there was the color blue, would you look into what the color blue was? But maybe that's a bad example, but if you didn't know about this law, would you go and look into it? Or would you just get hurtled into it when it's happening?
Right.
So this is kind of more about, this group is geared towards raising awareness. And if we bring enough people together, then maybe those resources can become available to somebody, or find people that care enough to say, whoa, we can't have this happening. So parents who are unaware, parents who have been affected, and people who can work towards change. This is what this group is geared towards, and raising the questions needed and pointing at
All right.
what to look at.
And the name of the group is Third Party Takeover.
Did you know did you know about third party takeover?
Okay.
And they are here to ring the bell.
Perfect. Hey, I appreciate you coming up and giving us all this information. That's what we're here for, is to get the word out. Whatever it is you want to spread the word about, you just sign up and let me know what time you want to do it, or just come up to the booth, and if we have time, we'll get you right on. It's a pretty easy process.
Yeah, it was simple.
A little scary, maybe?
I'm excited to be spreading the word. It's a goal of mine to make sure. And I would actually, before I end here, I would like to say that one of the things that really spoke to me in all of this is, it's a poem by Martin Niemöller, Niemoller. It was a German pastor, and this quote speaks volumes. It's about somebody who didn't say anything because they weren't affected at the time, but then all of a sudden it was them and there was nobody left. And it says, first they came for the communists and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. So if this has not hit your front porch, know that there is not much stopping it at this point, or I'm not aware of something that could... It's something to look into and try to find the people that we can work to change this.
Well said. And we will close on that. But if you want to come by, we are at the county fair until about 10 o'clock tonight. I think we're going to shut the doors at 9. If you want to get something out, or you want to sit down and have a conversation, stop by the booth. We're right across the street from the Flathead County Search and Rescue Association. Or if you're coming in to find Island Noodles, we're right across the street from Island Noodles. Megan,
yes, sir.
I appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by.
John?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you
for having me, John.
You're welcome.